This is the PvPers 3x3 base, a basic design that's easy to learn, easy to remember, quick to build, and hard to raid. With an insanely strong shooting floor inspired by Crow, you become the threat during an online raid. This base is very similar to my 2x2 design and has all of the same features plus more. Multiple exits from two sides of the base with tons of visibility featuring Dropbox storage and multiple ways to enter your base going up and down at the same time. Outside there's enough space to place and conceal up to 8 oil refineries. This is useful for charcoal factories. On the roof you have 2 minicopter garages as well as enough space to land 1 or 2 scrap helicopters. And obviously there's enough room for plenty of wind turbines, SAM sites, and solar panels as well. And don't forget you can also place these on external TCs. You have the option to connect the shooting floor for upkeep directly to the base on either side, just like my 2x2 design. But remember, if you're using external TCs for your shooting floor, do not do this and instead connect it like this. I've got a whole playlist about external TCs that you can find on my channel to learn more. I'm also not going to showcase how to compound your base because I feel like that's been ran into the dirt these days and everybody knows how to do it. Here's an example of if you just want to connect a gatehouse directly to the base. The second floor of the base, I would suggest making it for bedrooms. This is very useful for small groups. The third floor is how you access your shooting floor and the roof. This is the floor that I change every single wipe. Sometimes I'll turn it into an open core, sometimes I'll leave it empty. And you should do the same as well. Customize it, make it how you want it. You don't have to build this base exactly the same way as me. And then the final stop on the tour is the core of the base, which is inspired by my 3x3 starter base design video. And then at the end of this video, I'll have another tour going around showing all the deployables and how I would go about using this base. You're going to need some space to start off this design, so I like to sweep the area with the foundation as far into the ground as possible just to get a general idea of how high I'll need to place it. Usually just looking straight forward horizontally is enough to give yourself some space to work with. The starter of this base is just a 3x3, so we're going to place the foundations and walls all the way around the base and upgrade everything. We're going to be using a jump up to the second floor to get in and out of the core of the base, so when placing down your ceiling tiles, you're going to want to pick a direction and then leave a square open on one of the sides of the base. And you can start from a 1x1 if you want to. I recommend checking out the 3x3 starter base design video that I have, which goes over how to start off on a base like this. The only difference is the airlock on the base. It's going to be a slightly different because we're jumping up to the second floor here. As you can see, we're building that part right now. When building your jump up, you should put this half floor down if you can, even if you have to upgrade it to wood, because otherwise it's going to be a pain to get in there later, and it's a good spot to have some extra storage. At this point, we've got the shell of our starter base completed, and we're going to need a way to get up and down. To do this is not going to cost much, and I'm also just going to get this out of the way and place triangles all the way around the base, which we're going to use for honeycomb later. You're going to want to head off to the left or right side of the base, then upgrade these 3 foundations and place 2 triangle roofs down facing the base. If you're struggling at the start of wipe trying to get this down, just upgrade 2 foundations and 1 roof until you get enough resources. And to make it easier for us to jump up during the beginning phases of our base, we're going to place 2 square foundations and then replicate this on the other side of the base. On the inside of the base, we're going to start with the jump up and place 2 half walls down on either side and make sure that they're facing outwards. Then on the left and right of the jump up, place 2 walls and upgrade them and make sure the soft side is facing you. And then we're going to enclose those off as 2 separate loot rooms and place door frames everywhere else. I'm going to place my TC on this side, and we can easily bring this floor over here to get this triangle down, and on the other side we'll turn that into a loot room. This is obviously something you can switch around, and like I said, I'm going to have a tour at the end of this video showing how I place all the deployables. Don't forget to place the rest of the double door frames down and upgrade all of them. Heading back outside, the next stage is going to require us to finish the honeycomb off, so we're going to place these 2 walls down like this on either side of our jump up so that we have this little honeycomb piece here, and this is how we'll jump up to our 3rd floor from the airlock heading outside. Then we're going to head over to the flat side of the base, which is going to be all honeycomb, and you can fill the interior of this honeycomb if you want to, but it's still going to be 2 walls regardless. The only downside to this is that it'll give raiders more options to splash damage if they come through here, so keep that in mind. But if you leave this honeycomb hollow, you will be able to save a lot on the build cost. Replicate this on the other side of the base, and now we're ready to start building our 2nd floor. Also, during the recording of this video, I forgot to place the ceiling tiles on those 4 triangles on the honeycomb, so make sure you do that. The next step is placing walls all the way around the 2nd floor, leaving the entrances open. And then keep in mind when placing down your ceiling tiles that you have 4 ways to get up up to your third floor from the entrances, so you don't need a way up to the third floor from in here. But if that's something that you would like to have, I recommend making sure that you have plenty of doors between the roof and this door right here that I'm about to place. Also, below these types of jump ups is a great place to put auto turrets and shotgun traps to enforce the strength of them in case you don't have enough doors leading down. And if you decide to do this, make sure you have enough materials to fully build this door up here so you can still maintain access to your third floor. And then heading back down into the second floor, we can place door frames everywhere else, and we're going to turn all of these into bedrooms. The second floor right here is the best place to put bedrooms because you'll have quick access to the outside and very quick access to your core and third floor shooting floor. Unfortunately, this floor only supports 4 bedrooms that have a bed plus a locker inside of them, but there's also some space on the third floor that you could turn it into if you have more than 4 players on your team. And then I've been placing down doors, and my thought process behind this is basically everywhere that's a dead end is a double door, and everything considered a hallway is garage doors. At this point, we've got enough loot storage to support us in our core, second floor bedrooms, roof access, so now we're going to need some airlocks on the outside of the base to make it more safe. I've played Rust with hundreds of people across dozens of different groups, and this airlock was built with that in mind. As a small group, you often rush out together and enter the base together, so I made sure to include plenty of space and plenty of visibility here. These single doors lead to the oil refinery slots on the outside of the base, so if you don't plan on doing that, you can replace it with windows. The windows above the single door are used for raid defense, so once we get to our shooting floor, I'll show you how that works, but basically you can shoot through and throw grenades from your shooting floor into your door if you're getting front door raided. And then I really love these shop fronts because they just have a really big window, and you can also jump on the little ledge that they have. And we'll also have some walls on the outside of the single doors and another door on the other side of these double doors, so this is a good spot to put some Dropbox loot storage, and it'll be pretty safe here. Also keep in mind that you should connect this up to an industrial system at some point and don't just leave all your loot out here. I finally remembered to put these triangle floor frames down, and at this point we can work on closing this part of the base off. To do that, we're just going to put a wall on either side here, and then a triangle roof is how we're going to get up to our third floor. If you want a half height floor here, it's going to be quite difficult to jump up, and I find that roofs are the best option. From the top looking down, we're going to place these 3 triangles here. Then you'll enclose all of these jump ups off, but make sure you leave the ceiling open because that's how we're going to access our roof. I don't recommend having a jump up in the center of the base like we did on the second floor to get to the third, because it'll confuse raiders when they're top downing you, having them to go through a puzzle of doors. So for now, we're just going to enclose these off and place down double doors. If you have garage doors, you can get those down right away. If you're using the windows with the horizontal embrasures above the single doors like I am, you're going to want some form of protection here so you don't get sniped out of your front door when you're leaving your base. So we're just going to use this twig to get these double door frames down and place 2 shop fronts here. This will give you some good protection and also something to stand on, so you'll be able to see out like this, which is very nice. Something else to keep in mind is that you could place triangle ladder hatches here if you would like, because there is a slot that you can put a frame down. The only issue is that it's going to be kind of annoying to use, but you could place it backwards like this and create an airlock that you can use to throw grenades or rocket people coming through your front door if you're getting online raided. Just keep in mind, if you do this, you won't be able to go up with it, you'll only be able to go down. And then once you've done this on the other side of your base, you're sitting in a pretty good position. Before doing anything else, I recommend heading over to your front airlock, putting 3 triangles down like this, adding some shop fronts on either side and a single door so that you can create some more security between the outside and your drop boxes. If you've got a pretty rowdy team, you might want to switch that to a double door from a single door. Get this done on the other side of the base, and then we can start work on our shooting floor, which is the most exciting part of this design. Heading up to the safety of our roof, we can easily build the honeycomb on the second floor, keeping in mind what I said earlier about filling in the center of the honeycomb to negate rocket splash damage, but this is a good way to save on the build cost if you need to leave it empty. After you've completed this on the other side of your base as well, we can head down and we'll be looking at these sides of our bases right here, where we'll be connecting our shooting floor. The concept to this shooting floor is similar to my 2x2 base design, which I learned from Crow. We're just going to build out 3 squares, destroy these 2, and then build back from the third square with triangles imitating the shape of our honeycomb, and then placing 2 final triangles here pointing towards our base, and then you should have something that looks a little bit like this. From here, build out on either side by 1 more triangle, then you're going to rotate square, triangle, delete these squares, repeat this on the other side, and you've got the foundation to your shooting floor completed. You should be upgrading these foundations foundations to sheet metal, and if at this point you're having issues with the terrain, all you need to remember is to have it equal with the height of your foundations so that when we build 2 door frames up, it's level with the 3rd floor. So if you're off by a half floor, all you gotta do is put a half wall down and then upgrade it to sheet metal, then build the door frame. So I'm just gonna finish upgrading all of this, and then we're gonna put the double door frames down, and right here is how you can connect it directly to the base if you don't want to have external TCs. Me personally, I think external TCs are a pain in the ass to set up, and they're pretty fucking useless because if you get raided, it doesn't matter if you lose your deployables because you're probably not finishing that wipe anyway, and the upkeep cost isn't really going to be impacted too much, and these days you could just set up an auto upkeep box with industrial. So unless you plan on using your external TCs for like a flank base or something, I wouldn't even bother setting them up. It'll save you so much time on building. So this is all we got to do down here. This is the most risky part of setting up the shooting floor. Now we can head back up to the safety of our roof, and we're going to place 2 triangles down on the door frames and the square on our base, and that creates these wide angle peaks. All you got to remember is to put the triangles down first, because otherwise you won't be able to place the square. And then from here you'll have to go back down and do the same thing on the other side. And then the rest of the base we don't have to go back down outside anymore. From a top-down view, you can get a good perspective on how we're going to plug the rest of the base down like a Lego piece. But this is a very good spot to leave off at if you need to go do something else. The next part is to completely shell off the 3rd floor by placing windows along the outer edge, making sure that on the squares of the wide-angle peaks, you're placing them down on the door frame. And then you're going to replicate the floor tiles on the ceiling above you, so triangles on the wide-angle peak corners are going to go on the windows, and then on the honeycomb spot, we'll place a bunch of triangles down connected. Remember that the squares on the wide-angle peaks go on your main base, not the window frame, making sure that you place them after the triangles, and then we're going to finish up the rest of the squares around here, and we'll be able to squeeze 2 more floor frames right here that I forgot about. Once you're done with that, you should have something that looks like this, and then we'll be able to fill in the center of it. And then once you've filled everything in and upgraded it, you should have something that looks a little bit like this with 4 holes for your jump ups to the roof. The single most important thing next is to make sure that you have windows down, and the way that I like to do it is by placing glass windows on the 4 sides of the base that are flat like this, that are closer inside the base. And then I'll do a vertical embrasure, horizontal embrasure, vertical embrasure on all the wide angle peaks. Now that we've got this beautiful shooting floor with roof access, we're going to want to put doors down so that we can separate it off in case of an online raid, and to also make it easier to do things like taking heli without getting obliterated. So basically what I did was put a door in between each jump up, and then on all 4 corners of the base, I put single doors. What this allows us to do is to section off our shooting floor into 4 quadrants so that we can quarantine an area if we've potentially been online raided with the doors that we're about to set up over here. So first off, we're going to head over to this area right here, put a double door frame down, and then it also serves the purpose of creating something that we can use while we're shooting out of this gap right here, because this is one of the biggest gaps on the base, and by having it open, if you're shooting downwards, you're protected from the front. And then if we turn around, there's this part right here with all of our triangle honeycomb, and in the center of it, we're going to place 2 single door frames with the soft side facing inwards, and then the door on the side that opens towards the window. And then you can see by doing this, we'll be able to section the shooting floor off into 4 quadrants, making it very nice to control. One of the worst parts about being online raided is losing control of your shooting floor, because it's usually the most powerful part of your base. And then at this point, we're going to need to remove the 4 double doors in each corner and replace them all with garage doors. And then, like I said at the beginning of the video, this is the floor that you can customize if you want to. If you need more doors or whatever, this is a very simple way. You just put some walls down, boom, you got an extra door in between you and each jump up. I recommend doing something with this floor. Don't just leave it all open like this. Above each of the 4 jump ups, we're going to place another door, and this is a good place to put some storage if you need some quick depot after coming back from a helicopter mission. You'll be able to put 2 small boxes behind each of these doors, totaling for about the size of a regular 4-box loot room. And then after you've done that on all 4 jump ups, we can create our mini copter garages next, which are extremely useful. It can also be used for an electrical room or some extra storage, whatever you want to use it for. It doesn't have to be for a mini copter. So we're just copying the pattern of the floor below us, creating a 2x1 with 3 triangles in front of it, and then a door, and you've got yourself a nice little mini copter garage or what have you. And then of course you're going to turn around and do it on the other side as well. From here, we're in the very final stages of the base, and we're almost done. We're just going to head out to the edges here, placing roof tiles on the outside. On the part with our honeycomb, we're going to switch it up to 2 roof triangles so that it creates more of a protective barrier. Make sure you're upgrading these both to the same thing like I'm doing with stone here. If you upgrade one or the other, they won't connect like that. And when you're placing that one right there, make sure it's on the window, not the floor, so that you can still have the wide angle peak in the ground. And then once you've done this on the other side, you'll have something that looks like this. And you'll notice our minicopter garages create a weird gap between these roofs, but we can alleviate that by heading down, which is the only spot I found that you could actually place the tiles without flying, and then head back up and upgrade all of these, and then switch to triangle roofs and connect 3 of them right here, and it'll give you a nice little hiding spot so that you don't get sniped from this huge angle that would otherwise be open. The best slots to place wind turbines down, as well as SAM sites, are going to be on these triangles above your jump ups. For this demonstration, I'm only going to be building them up 1 high, but you can build them up 6 or 7, I believe. And you're going to want to make sure that you point the triangles outwards like this if you're placing turbines, so that you don't have any issues with not being able to place them. If you're going to be placing down SAM sites, you're going to want to place them lower than the wind turbines, and you should probably alternate them in between like this, so you can try to limit the amount of times that it'll collide with the base as much as possible. And like I showed at the beginning of the video, if you want to have gatehouses, it is as simple as building out 2 squares, placing 2 triangles, and then building your gatehouse. There's really no need to get much more fancy than this. I mean, it is just a gatehouse. A lot of people out there go way too overkill with this, but I would agree that when compounding your base, it's better to have a gatehouse than it is to have a stone gate. And that is all there is to it. This is the best, most simple, up to date with the meta 3x3 design out there that's not so complicated that you'll need to watch this video a trillion times as you're building it just to get it down. So now taking a look at the deployables, you can see how by replacing door frames with walls on the corners of the base, you'll be able to fit 2 oil refineries in there. We've got our jump ups to the 3rd floor. Inside of here, we've got our bedrooms on the 2nd floor with a locker and a small box fitting in there. And by having double doors that face outwards, you'll be able to coordinate with your teammate on the opposite side of you to open both of your doors at the same time, creating a lock. So if this door has been blown off, you can both open this up and be able to take advantage of the situation this way. And then obviously on the other side of the base, we've mirrored this, including the exit, with 2 more jump ups to our 3rd floor from here, as well as a 5th jump up to the 3rd floor in the center of the base if you wanted to have this here, leading to our 3rd floor shooting floor, which is up to you how you would like to customize the pattern. The shooting floor itself is designed to be able to be closed off into 4 quadrants, also featuring some pretty insane wide angle peaks and plenty of room to move around with your whole team. On the inside of the shooting floor is 4 jump ups that go up and down. On the roof, we have 2 minicopter garages that could be converted into extra loot rooms, electrical rooms, what have you, store batteries in here. We've got room for solar panels on top of that. And then heading down, we can find the entrance to our core on the 2nd floor, and we've got traps set up here. Underneath the jump up is a great spot to put auto turrets and shotgun traps, as well as storing batteries on the left and right and setting up electrical furnaces in there. We've got a hallway right here separating 2 loot rooms. On the right side is where you'll find our TC and tons of storage. Here's the upkeep for everything, including both shooting floors. And then behind us, we've got room for everything we'll need: our workbench, lockers, fridge, research table. Our repair bench is in this loot room over here with some small boxes squeezed under it. We've got 2 garage doors right there sectioning this whole area off, making it very strong, especially when upgraded to armored. Inside of bedrooms and jump ups is a great place to store more loot, and you can see here how quick it is to get to the roof from our bedroom, and it's even faster to get outside or down into the core from the bedroom. And that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, leave a dislike if you didn't, and I'll catch you in the next one.